Ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow UB students, thank you for joining us on this special night. I came to the United States of America on 18th August 2011. As expected, my first few months here was filled with me adjusting to my new independent life. My days were filled with making friends, completing my homework, and doing exactly what is expected out of college students, that is having fun. But being the person I am, I knew that I would not be satisfied just doing lessons and hanging out with my close friends. I wanted my college experience to be meaningful. I wanted to be a part of a movement led by students who stood firmly by their beliefs, despite all the criticism and allegations that were thrown against them. So when I came across a newspaper article about the difficulties faced by a certain pro-life group in setting up the club and in dealing with random acts of violence, I became intrigued. Till that moment, I never knew or realized that there was actually a pro-life and a pro-choice group. It's not just me. A lot of my friends from abroad, they never knew that this massive movement in which a war between pro-choice and pro-life was actually happening. On my part, I always assumed that the life of an unborn child or that of any random third person you meet would take precedence over everything else. I was born in one of the most beautiful, culturally rich and vibrant country in this world, India. I grew up in Bangalore, which is in South India. My father is a member of Legislative Assembly, which I think in American terms you can say is a senator. And my mother is a professor of economics. I'm very proud of that. Dad once told me that when my mom was pregnant, my grandfather would tell my parents, "That child in there, it better be a boy." When my father asked, "What if the child turns out to be a girl?" My grandfather replied, "Then you continue having children till the boy is born." My paternal grandfather's reasons against having a girl child was so grounded that he didn't see it fit to visit me when I was born. You see, for many people, especially for those living in the rural areas of third world countries, having a girl child is a huge burden, and having a male child is like the greatest gift of all. Why? Because boys carry the family name. They're the providers. They're the strong ones who are capable of carrying family responsibilities. To them, a girl was nothing but a headache, one who had to be married, one for whom sufficient dowry had to be given in the form of jewelry and lots of cash. And worst part, if the girl was sent back from her husband's house in disgrace because she could not bear a male child, then she would be reduced to nothing. Because you see, in these conservative societies, if a woman is thrown out of her husband's house because she could not bear a male child, then no man will ever marry her again. No one will even look at her. Not even her own parents. They will just assume her to be a burden. The fear of having a girl child is so great that female feticide has reached alarming levels in recent times. Statistics show that nearly 10 million female feticides have occurred in the past 2 decades. And out of the 12 million girls born, 1 million do not live to see the first birthdays. China too faces a similar problem. It's not just India. You see, with the one-child policy that is being enforced by the communist government in China, most parents, they get the girl child aborted, wanting the one child they're allowed to have to be a male. I recently heard some appalling news that in one of the government hospitals in Haryana is a state in northern India, it's a very rural area, people found a well filled completely with dead female bodies and female fetuses. A whole well filled with dead, innocent babies, most of whom were female. The brutality of the whole situation sends shivers up my spine to this day. I also read a very ridiculous story on one of the news websites that one woman sold her newborn child for rupees 5,000, which is around $95 US. She didn't sell her baby for food or because she had to provide for her family or because she needed shelter or simply because she couldn't take care of a child. No, she sold her child to buy a new pair of jeans, a couple of tops, and a brand new cell phone. This woman considered such materialistic things to be more worthy than her child's future. My friends, it never ceases to amaze and shock me at the same time how the value of life has degraded over the years. You might be wondering why I'm telling you all this. You see, when I hear people claiming to be pro-life, at the same time they get the girl child aborted to have a male child, the hypocrisy of the whole situation angers me. When one stands in favor of giving an unborn child the opportunity to live, one must also realize that the sex of the child does not matter. What matters is giving life to that child, of giving that child the unconditional love that our parents have given us, and most importantly, realizing what this one ancient proverb says: this world does not belong to us, we have merely borrowed it from our children. In many ways, I am a lucky girl. I have wonderful, educated parents who have given me everything in life. My dad always tells me that he wanted his first baby to be a girl. My parents have never distinguished between me and my brother. They've always treated us the same. In fact, when I informed my father about my decision to come to the US to study, he was so proud of it that he used to answer his phone calls and start his political speeches, not by saying hi or how are you, but by, do you know my daughter is going to be studying in the United States of America? That was quite embarrassing for me because before it was confirmed that I was going, everybody else knew. I was the last person to get to know. You see, for my father, the fact that his daughter is going halfway across the world to study and is going to be living alone and independently, that was like an achievement. It was his way of telling his people, look, girls are as capable as men, and perhaps even more. It's up to us as individuals who have been lucky enough to have parents who decide to give birth to us, who gave us good education, who took care of our basic needs, to come together and stand shoulder to shoulder with our heads held high and to tell those who mock at us, my friend, this is what we believe in, and we will stand by our belief. For battles are won not through mockery, and definitely not through violence, but by patience, perseverance, and